Ladies and gentlemen, there was a term years ago called the golden age of Hollywood. We're in another golden age now. It's the golden age of Toni Storm. So for the 5 wrestling fans out there who don't know who Toni Storm is, for the last 3 years when she came over from WWE, she was misused, and she created this timeless Toni Storm character, a kind of a combination of Joan Crawford, Gloria Swanson, and Ava Gardner on acid. A dirty mouth, some of the, chin up, tits out, watch the shoe or look out for the shoe. She's become a sensation within wrestling and even has done time as a TCM host and personality during the classic movies. Now, the big match of her career, probably the biggest female match of the last, since the Trish Stratus years, is this weekend at All In, July 12th, where she'll be taking on that WWE reject, Mercedes Mone, who people don't really like at all. She's terrible on the mic. She has no presence. Sure, she has lots of belts, but so did I in the 80s when I had like 8 pair of jeans. I had 8 pair of belts. Storm had destroyed her on the mic yet again on Wednesday Dynamite. And Storm, who basically can ad-lib or work shoot with the best of them, made Mone look like a piece of shit. So this match in Texas on the weekend, we're going to talk about this, but we're going to talk about the foolishness that Mone tried to respond. Now, on Dynamite, Mone and Storm met in the middle of the ring, and Storm decided to bring in some champagne to celebrate the upcoming event. Now, this was the final confrontation before the match, again, just days before the high-stakes clash at All In. Now, according to wrestling headlines, I think just the AEW belt is on the line. If Mone wins, she gets that belt. But it should set it up that if Storm wins, she gets all the belts. The segment began with Mercedes in the ring looking like her shoulders were bleeding when Storm appeared on the screen from backstage, alluding to her roots, and she was like backlit with her black and white. Toni quipped that the only 2 things come from Texas, and she's one of them. Mercedes fired back, calling Storm a mark and demanding she meet her in the ring face to face. Well, if you know one thing about wrestling, you want to show up. Now, let's put this in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. Toni Storm had 2 great lines in the past year. When she was teaming with Thunder Rosa, he said, "Beware the tag team of Thunder Tits." And as to her first, chase of Mone for the title, she said, "I'm going to take that title and put it back where it belongs, up my vagina." So the R-rated Toni Storm is working. I think that's almost 20% of the ratings people are tuning in to see what's going on. It's not ECW, but it's pretty fucking close. Now, when Toni obliged, she made her way to the ring. Mercedes raised her glass and a toast to herself, declaring that she's the future AEW World's Women's Champion. But after taking a sip, she said she was unimpressed by the champagne, saying it was probably previously frozen. Storm cut her off, saying, "Save the performative bullshit for your entrance. I'm not like the others. You speak in catchphrases. You got the authenticity of a spray tan in a rainstorm and the emotional depth of a kiddie pool. You are a fraud." Well, the truth hurts. In recent weeks, Mone has been going into certain rings across the world, and their deriding chant has been happening. Hogan, Hogan. Basically, people are saying that she's kind of now the female equivalent of Hulk Hogan in the bad years. Now, as the debate went on, Toni said she found her true self in the AEW Women's World title, while Mercedes just hides behind her accolade. She said, "What are you so afraid of?" Now, in response to Storm, Mercedes looked like distant, like a dog looking at a TV and trying to figure out what's on. She basically, not say it was insulted, but she was trying to come up with a comeback. She couldn't. This was real. Mercedes responded by saying that while their journeys may look similar, they couldn't be more different. She stated, no one in the crowd believed it, "I will always be better than you. I've been to hell and back and made the devil my bitch. The more these people hate me, the more I win. No one is stopping the Mone train." She declared herself the one-woman revolution, the alpha, the omega, and everything between. Legacies don't exist, Toni replied. One day we all turn to dust. We're all going to die. What matters is a single moment, to the moment you step in the ring and look me in the eye and realize you fear an ordinary life, but I fear an ordinary death. Toni admitted that Mercedes deserves every title in the world, except the AEW title, and saying you go down as a woman who just couldn't win. The big one. Now, there were some rumors in recent days on WrestleMania and different stuff that Mone has creative control. A lot of people are concerned that it will be either Schmaz or Mone's going to win. Now, when Mercedes raised her glass again and said, may the best woman win for what it's worth, Mercedes botched the date on the AEW All-In in Texas, stated it would be taking place on Sunday. She quickly corrected herself, which led to fans breaking out in a loud, you fucked up chant. The two women toasted, took a drink, and Toni snarled, eat shit, bitch, before dodging a strike from Mercedes. Mone tried to set up for the Mone Maker, but Storm slipped free and Mercedes rolled out of the ring, retreating until their fateful showdown at All In. Now, what's really bizarre about, and people are noticing body changes in both, just like Lufisto, who is retired from wrestling, Toni Storm looks like she's getting excessive fat in her lower legs, like her lower body has been expanding. I don't know if that's the same disease Lufisto has, where the fat cells are retained there. It's not a weight thing; it's a disease. And Mercedes Mone maybe were 110 pounds soaking wet in WWE. Now, either she's been working out, she got the weight. She's 40 pounds heavier, probably, or 30, 40 pounds, than she was in WWE. It looks good in her. But what were a lot of people freaking out about, the gear she was wearing on Wednesday, like it looked to be sparklies on both shoulders, but it looked like her shoulders were bleeding. Now, Toni Storm, again, will be the wrestler of the 2020s. If you look at the whole decade, she's taken women's wrestling back into kind of that 70s, 80s shoot. Wendy Richter wasn't the best on the mic, but Medusa and Sherry Martel, that was really good. They not only could be good wrestlers, they're good on the mic. Mercedes Mone is like a bucket of shit being poured on your head in the middle of summer. She's terrible on the mic. But Toni Storm has had so much one-liners. Now, what she's been doing as well, if you're noticing that, she's been doing stand-ups and curlers, literally curlers. And Toni looks like, it's almost like a 1930s movie star, like Jean Harlow, with the soul of those 1940s and 50s stars. Sometimes she does a little bit of Betty Davis, whatever. It's one of the best acting performances, and it's crossing over quite good. So I think what's going to be happening if Storm wins, she's been crossing over like Randy Macho Man Savage did, but Hulk Hogan is really disliked right now by the wrestling universe, and she's Mone may have all those belts, but like I said, he put it on the wrong horse. But Toni Storm does not do the same circuit as Mone, because Mone does Japan, Austria, Europe, Eastern Europe, whatever. She's a good wrestler, but I mean, on the mic, she's fucking terrible. Like, I'm just waiting until it's done. And one guy asked today, he said, why you're an expert on the mic? I said, Jesus Christ. I said, Dusty Rhodes, the Four Horsemen, Flair, Brian Pillman, Paul Heyman, Terry Funk, Mick Foley, Kane Dewey, even the Sinister Minister. I grew up in the ECW shoot era. She's a throwback to ECW, but if ECW had an Australian, bisexual spin, because Toni is, I think she's now either gender fluid. But the idea, I'm going to win the belt and put it back up in my vagina, where it belongs. Holy Jesus Christ, my God. Toni Storm, I can't say enough how I appreciate her on the. But one guy said, it's disgusting. If you're a true wrestling fan, okay, look at Ravishing Rick Rude, Slaughter. I mean, Steamboat was a great wrestler. He was bad. He was mediocre in the mic. Mone is probably a top 50 female wrestler of all time. But Toni Storm, she's not there for the wrestling. I mean, she has a compact body. She only can take certain bumps, and sometimes she can take some of the hardcore. No pun intended, she can take hardcore. It's going to be an interesting. So the match this weekend, July 12th, get your popcorn ready. But that's a good line. I know one thing comes from Texas, me. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the words of Toni Storm, don't be a bitch and leave me alone. Have a good one, and don't forget, in Canada, this is Canada Day month, so hug a beaver, buy Canadian, whatever. If you're American who loves Canada, please come and visit us. If you're a fuckface that took up for Trump, fuck off from the channel, ban yourself. By the way, the best way to get yourself banned from the channel, put something on here to support Trump. I can ban you from there. You may not have YouTube ever again, because I guess there's a new rule. So anyway, like I said, I like Toni Storm, but you know Mercedes Moné's relation is Snoop Doggy Dogg, and you would think she would learn better to be on the mic, because Snoop Doggy Dogg in interviews, though Nardwar and everybody else, is tremendous. He even did Trailer Park Boys with my good buddy Candy Palmer. God bless her soul. So I predict Saturday in Texas. I make a prediction. Titty twisting pain. Have a good one. If you like what you're doing, again, we take requests. So any requests you had, if it's up there, we're going to do her. Have a good one. Bye.